guys. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad to see you. We have Ms. Gano joining us as well. Ms. Gano, is your audio working?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yay! All right. So for today, just to kind of give you a rundown of our agenda, what we're going to be discussing is our counselors are going to do their parent coffee chat, and it's about 15 minutes. And then we are going to talk about some updates with back to school, the phase-in approach of reopening. We're going to be looking at our Title I budget, and then our reopening plan as well. And so if parents, if I can please just have you put your name in the chat, or Kent, maybe you can take a screenshot of all these people so that we can have it as documentation too, that we were able to do our Title I. That would be great. And I'm going to let our counselors take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are going to try to make it short and sweet. We know you've been inundated with information, but we have some tips here that I hope will help you. And Ms. Piedra is going to share the screen.
Good morning, parents and families. So happy you can join us. We are going to try to go through this presentation quickly so we can have sufficient time for all the agenda items. Just to let you guys know, we do have a counselor blend page. So your children should have access to that. We do have a parent resources tile. I will put this presentation, a recording of it, if I can get it in there for you, or I'll just put the presentation in there for you if you want to go back and read through any of these items. But we are going to briefly talk about 5 ways to manage back to school anxiety, since that is something that is a big topic right now. Okay, so the first consideration we have for you guys is to prepare, right? Whenever your child is going to be coming back to school, whether the first week of October, the last week of October, at any point this year, if you notice they have anxiety, let them know it is okay to talk about their feelings, right? We don't want them to feel like they have to hide them, or it's not okay to be feeling worried, right? Obviously, we want them to talk about what is on their mind, what are they worried about, and try to pinpoint that worry. Is it about the health, right? Is it about safety precautions at the school? Is it about making friends? Is it about their teacher or academics? We always want to do our best not to dismiss their concerns. And just some COVID considerations. As much as developmentally is appropriate, we want to make the unknown known if your child is asking questions. So discussing and practicing safety measures is so important, right? Having them practice wearing that mask all day, even if it's at home. Going over schedules, right? Asking your teacher, and schedules are always changing, right? But teachers should be probably giving updates whenever that does happen. So if there is a change in the schedule, letting them know, like, this is what is going to happen. This is what your schedule is going to look like when you're at school. Talking about how are things going to be the same at Travis Heights. Obviously, they will see hopefully the same happy, smiling teacher and staff faces, but how will things be different? Talk about how things will be different at our school. And if you notice they are really having those anxiety feelings, even maybe on a weekend, driving to the school with your child and practicing those procedures, practicing how they're going to enter the building, because parents are not going to be allowed in, right? So practicing how they're going to go into the school. And I'm sure Ms. Navarro and your child's teacher will have more information about what that's going to be.
Okay. Nosotros sabemos que preparando es una cosa que necesitamos hacer, especialmente este año. So, expresa a su hijo que está normal, que se preocupa a volver a la escuela. Anímalos a hablar de lo que tienen en su mente. Es muy importante que los niños sienten que ellos pueden hablar y preguntar todo lo que quieren con ustedes. Pregúntales por qué están preocupados. Son sus preocupaciones sobre amistad, de los estudios, de la salud. Tienes que preguntarlos porque nosotros como padres a veces y adultos pensamos muy diferente que los niños, y así tenemos que que preguntar de qué es su preocupación. Y también durante este tiempo de COVID, haga saber lo desconocido si su hijo está haciendo preguntas.
No me permiten poner la cámara, ¿ves?
Medidas de seguridad, horarios y cómo las cosas serán iguales o diferentes. Porque sí, este año todo va a ser diferente. Tienen que entrar en una manera, las clases son diferentes y es mejor que ellos saben un poco antes de las expectaciones. Y Ms. Piedra dijo que si tienen tiempo, en fin de semana, ustedes pueden pasar y ver que los niños conocen dónde van a entrar y el horario y qué va a pasar cuando regresan.
And number 2 is provide empathy. So empathy, right? Be prepared to listen. Choose a time to talk when your child is feeling calm, when you're not feeling those sensations of anxiety. So maybe in a car ride, maybe taking a walk, talking about, how they're feeling to be going back to school. When they do your best not to be judgmental about any worries. And then once you do pinpoint what their worry is, try to focus on the positive. So if they say, I'm afraid I'm not gonna make any friends or I won't be able to play with my friends, try to help them develop some positive self-talk and practice them saying that in their head. They can change their thoughts to, I can make friends, and also focus on their successes that they have had in the past with this.
Darles empatía o prohibir empatía. Primero, tenemos que prepararnos para escuchar. Escoge un momento para hablar cuando están tranquilos o se sienten tranquilos. Tal vez cuando están en el coche o dando un paseo. Haz lo mejor lo que puedes para no juzgar las preocupaciones de su hijo. Porque a veces nosotros de padres o adultos pensamos, yo no sé por qué están preocupando de eso. Pero para los niños así se sienten. Cuando puede conocer sus preocupaciones, céntrese en lo positivo. Por ejemplo, si dicen que no son buenos en matemáticas, puedes ayudarles con un dicho positivo sobre sí mismos y cambiar su pensamiento. Porque a veces pensamos, yo no puedo hacer esto, o yo no tengo talento en matemáticas, pero ustedes pueden ayudar a los niños con sus pensamientos y recuérdalos de sus éxitos que han tenido en el pasado.
Alrighty, number 3 is really try to connect with your child. There's this saying that is in a popular parent book. It says connect, then redirect, right? So really try to connect with their feelings, empathize with them, and really try to use that morning time before school to have that special connection. So at breakfast or on the drive or walk to school, try to come up with a fun morning ritual with your child. Some examples are having a special handshake, playing a favorite song, taking some deep breaths together, closing their eyes and have them picture themselves having a great day, or having them make one goal for the day and then tell them, at the end, let's talk about that goal and how it went. And really, as parents, whenever we see our child feeling worried or scared or angry, we also start to feel those sensations as well. So really be mindful of paying attention to your feelings, modeling calm and confidence as best as you can, even if you are feeling anxiety or you are worried, not really showing that to your child right before school. Our kids can read our emotions, and if they sense your anxiety, they'll be anxious as well. So I do think it's okay for parents to talk about their emotions, but like we said, talk about it like the week leading up to when they're going to be going back to school. Once they're there ready to go in the building, like show that confidence, show them you're proud of them, show them you're excited for them, and try to animalos, right? Like get them so excited as much as possible.
Ok. Queremos una conexión con nuestros hijos. Usa el tiempo de la mañana antes de la escuela o, como dijo señorita Piedra la semana antes para conectar con su hijo. En el desayuno o en el camino a la escuela, ustedes pueden tener un ritual de la mañana. You can have a handshake o saludo especial. Ustedes pueden escuchar su canción favorita, respira profundamente. Y los niños, nosotros tenemos muchas oportunidades con ellos y enseñarlos, y ellos pueden practicar y enseñar a ustedes lo que han usado en escuela. Guía a su hijo o hija a cerrar los ojos y imaginen sí mismo teniendo un buen día. Habla sobre una meta para el día. Una meta como, oh, pues hoy voy a escuchar con atención. Hoy yo voy a escribir lo que yo puedo escribir. Una meta así, no una tan grande, pero nomás una chiquita. Presta atención a tus propios sentimientos y modela la calma y confianza. Aunque no sentimos eso, si somos nerviosos o ansiosos, los niños pueden sentir eso y si nosotros están allí con calma, tranquilidad, espero que ellos también sienten eso.
So number 4 is create a plan. So as we all know, children thrive on routine and predictability. So organization is key to setting up a routine, whether if your child is still learning from home or going to be learning from school. So really taking that time to go through the schedule, whether it's, like I said, at home or school, is going to help the school days go much smoother for our children. So some other things to consider are deciding the night before what your child's going to wear and have it ready to go. So when they wake up, they can get dressed. Having a consistent bedtime and wake time, right? That is super important now that we're getting back into a very consistent routine. Allowing enough time, it's supposed to say for breakfast if it's feasible, and at home setting up a working area that has good lighting and a flat surface. So we've told children maybe not doing like school on their bed, but having like a nice little desk, flat surface, having the basic supplies ready to go. And then posting a schedule, what the day is going to look like. Some good practices.
Okay. Aquí vamos a hablar de que ustedes hagan un plan para estudiar. La organización es muy importante para establecer una rutina. No importa si está aprendiendo de la casa o en la escuela. Tomando ese tiempo para establecer un plan ayudará a que los días de escuela sean más fluidos. Si tenemos un plan, en la mañana no estamos ahí corriendo o hablando con los niños, ándale, pero con un plan es mejor. Decida la noche anterior lo que su hijo o hija va a llevar puesto y prepárase para el día siguiente. Ustedes pueden escoger su ropa o que ellos escogen su ropa, que tienen todo en su mochila que necesitan para el siguiente día. En casa, establezca una área de trabajo que tenga buena iluminación y una superficie plana. Yo sé que todos no podemos tener un escritorio, pero en la mesa es mejor que no están en su cama, pero si están como en la sofá, si tienen un tablet o algo así, o una, como dice aquí, superficie plana. Haga un horario con su hijo de cómo será el día. Así ellos pueden ver, ok, en la mañana hacemos para lonche o cuando vamos a tomar las quebraditas, the breaks.
Okay, number 5, our last little tip is planning your goodbye. This can be the hardest, right, for children and for parents. So again, just being confident, reminding your child that all the teachers and staff at Travis Heights care about them so much. We will keep them safe. If they seem hesitant, you can say things like, tell me what's bothering you so we can talk about it. I know going to school is making you scared or nervous, but it's so important to go to school to continue learning and helping our brains get stronger. I will be right here at, 3:05 waiting for you. Whatever time you plan on getting there, telling them, I will be here at this time waiting for you. I can't wait to hear about your day. Just sending them off with that very enthusiastic goodbye and that confident goodbye can help.
Planea la despedida. A veces los niños no quieren despedir a los padres. So, aquí lo que vamos a ver es, recuerda tener confianza y recuerda a su hijo que todos los maestros y el personal de Travis Heights los quieren mucho y los mantendrán a salvo. Vamos a asegurar todo lo que podemos que ellos se sienten seguros, vamos a darle todo el apoyo y también vamos a estar allí con nuestra sonrisa, aunque no puedes ver, pero que ustedes pueden sentir que aquí estamos para servir a ustedes y los niños. Si su hijo parece dudar o tener una emoción fuerte, puedes decir, dime lo que te preocupa para que podamos hablar de sus preocupaciones. Si todavía parecen nerviosos, asustados o ansiosos, puedes decir, yo veo que tienes miedo, estás un poco nervioso, pero aún eso sí tienes que ir a la escuela. Pero voy a estar aquí a las 3:10 para recogerte. Espero que tengas un buen día.
So we do have a book recommendation. I don't know if any parents here have seen this book. It's called The Kissing Hand. It's such a sweet book if children are having that anxiety about going back to school. So, tienen el libro también en español. Este es un dulce libro sobre si su hijo tiene ansiedad a ir a la escuela. So, llama Un Beso en Mi Mano. I'm sure there are YouTube videos with readings of it. It's also on Amazon. So, just a little excerpt from the book. As I mentioned, you can go back through this presentation if you want. It'll be on our blend course. And this is a sweet little, I don't know if any parents have seen it, it's a sweet little activity you can do with your child. Because in The Kissing Hand, they talk about the mommy raccoon giving the baby a kiss on the hand and holding it to the baby's cheek and remembering that mommy loves them or daddy loves them, and the mommy and daddy are going to be there with them all day at school. They just like think about that kiss on their hand. We might not want to give a kiss to our child's hand, right, before going back to school this year, but maybe you can make like a bracelet and say, I'm going to have one and you're going to have one, and we're both going to have the same bracelet when you're back in school. And when you miss me or when you start to worry, just think about mommy and daddy. Think about the fun time we're going to have after school. So it's just like a sweet little activity you can do with your child.
Okay. Tenemos esta actividad que ustedes pueden hacer en el libro. Dice, un beso en mano, pero durante este tiempo es posible que no vamos a poder hacer eso. Pero aquí con las pulseritas, si tienen tiempo o los materiales, no se preocupan. Nomás lo queremos que los niños sienten es que ustedes están allí pensando en ellos, mandando un abrazo, una idea que ellos van a tener un buen día.
And then just like a little sample, we were talking about planning, writing out the day. Miss Connell found this cute little calendar. I put a picture of the one I had made with my son back in the spring. So, talking about the day with your child, making a calendar, going over it with them, like this is what you're going to do first when you get to school. This is what's going to happen next. Can be helpful. And my son loves Ghostbusters, so that's why it says Ghostbusters Academy, what we named the school. His homeschool. So Ms. Connell also found this really cute graphic. Respect your parents. They pass school without Google. We're all doing our best. You guys are doing amazing. We care about each and every one of you. If you have any questions, if you want to see this presentation again and can't find it, feel free to email me, Ms. Piedra, or Ms. Cano. We're both the counselors. You can also dojo me, class dojo me.
Muchas gracias. Estamos aquí para apoyarlos. Y aquí dice, respeto, está bien, respeto a sus padres porque ellos no tuvieron que entrar en Google o usar el internet y la computadora para instrucción. Gracias.
Thank you to our amazing counselors. Thank you for putting that together. I definitely have some ideas that I'm going to be doing because although my child may not be returning, the separation of her being at home and me coming to work, the anxiety level is very real and very much there. And I bought 2 necklaces and I tell her heart is my heart, and I wear one and she wears one. And so the reality of what our kids are feeling and their strong emotions, she may not be entering the building, but she is very fearful that I could potentially get sick. And so those feelings are very strong, and I appreciate the lesson, and thank you very much. Moving along, we are going to do our reopening plan, and Mr. Haas is going to do that and take that away so that he can present that. But before we move on, just a few reminders. Back to school night, and I'm gonna go ahead and just share my screen very quickly, Mr. Haas, and then I will give it to you. Back to school night is taking place on the 28th and the 29th. Monday, September 28th from 5 to 6 p.m. will be our 3rd through 5th grade. Tuesday, September 29th, we've broken that apart so that we have 4 to 5 for our pre-K 3 and 4. And our 5 to 6 will be for K through 2nd. Parents, I think it's imperative that you please join because there's going to be information that's directly specified specifically for your classroom teacher, either if you're coming face-to-face or you're staying remote. Remember, our phase-in approach will be for October 5th through the 9th, with the building capacity of 25%, not 25% of the grade level, but 25% of the building capacity. That right now puts us about 140 to 150 people in the actual building. That's including staff. And when we look at the phase-in approach, we are focusing on students receiving specialized services such as life skills, social behavioral skills, scores, early childhood, or auditory and deaf education. We're also looking at staff with children that will be returning to their enrolled campuses. And that includes teachers, TAs, custodial staff, office staff, nurses. When we look at grade levels that will be entering into our campus, we're focusing on pre-K 3, pre-K 4, kinder. For the middle school, it's 6th grade, and for high school, it is the 9th grade. When we look at newcomers, we're looking at students that are entering year 1 into the country for language purposes, and siblings of students that are being prioritized for groups for that week. One important reminder that you're going to hear constantly from me, the teachers, faculty, and staff at Travis Heights, is that we need you parents to be downloading the AISD mobile app. This is going to be crucial to our arrival when we do begin face-to-face for parents that are opting into doing face-to-face. So please, or at any point in time, if you're ever coming to the campus, this mobile app is going to be imperative for yourself or for your child for us to be able to have a conversation and go through our safety protocol. I think Ms. De La Torre, you're going to review that, and then we will have Mr. Haas take it away with our reopening plan.
Buenos días y bienvenidos. Vamos a empezar con unos recordatorios. La próxima semana, el lunes 28 de septiembre, tenemos nuestra noche de regreso a clases. Será lunes de 5 a 6 para los grados 3º, 4º y 5º. También el martes 29 de septiembre tendremos de 4 a 5 nuestros chiquititos de pre-kinder 3 y pre-kinder 4 nada más. Y también de 5 a 6 serán nuestros años de kinder primero y segundo. Los invitamos a que participen. Su maestro o maestra mandará más información sobre cómo conectarse al regreso de clases, pero va a haber mucha información bastante importante. Una de las cosas que van a estar repasando es las diferentes fases de regreso a la escuela y cómo se verá eso. Entonces, la primera semana, semana 5, que es de octubre, el 5 de octubre a el 9 de octubre es nuestra primera fase. En esta primera fase se incluyen diferentes unidades especializadas de educación especial. Se incluye también prekinder 3, prekinder 4 y kinder para nosotros. Pero para la secundaria se incluye grado 6 y para la prepa se incluye grado 9. Para estudiantes que son nuevos a los Estados Unidos, que están en su primer año, y hermanos o hermanas de los grupos que están en prioridad, por ejemplo, las diferentes unidades de educación especial. Algo que también escucharán a sus maestras o maestros pedirles, y también nos escucharán a nosotros pedirles, es que por favor bajen la aplicación del distrito. Nada más ponen en la página de aplicaciones en su celular, AIST, y van a ver la opción. Es un cuadrito rojo con la manzanita y una foto en medio, pero es para nosotros para que ustedes estén conectados en diferentes áreas. Pueden conectarse a la nube de padres, pueden ver el menú, pueden ver la información más importante y recién que pueden ver, pero también les permite llenar una serie de preguntas que necesitarán llenar por su hijo o hija cada mañana para poder tener acceso al edificio, si es que deciden regresar en la fase que les corresponde. Ahora, a continuación, creo que vamos a repasar la presentación del plan de reapertura para nosotros como Travis Heights. Mr. Hall.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. This is an overview of our intended reopening plan. You know, Travis Heights, we're looking at dividing our school, which is a complicated looking school. You can see this is basically a map of it. Well, let me come back over here to the overview. We're looking at dividing the school into 6 distinct learning locales. That way there isn't a lot of cross movement between staff and students in case there was any event of COVID showing up. So each of these areas will be divided into a different distinct color. There will also be social distancing dots that will be placed all along the walkways and throughout the halls and all that, so that students know which areas of the school they will be in with their respective grade level. Let's take a look at the map. When students arrive, there will be multiple locations where they will come to have a health screening. For instance, here's pre-K kinder. They will come through this kindergarten entrance, or first grade and third will come through the cafeteria. Second grade will come through the main entrance, and this will also remain open all day long for staff screening or visitor screening. And fourth and fifth grade will come over here close to the art room across the play pad. Pre-K3 will be over here by the portable building that's in this back parking lot area, so they can directly come to the portable at 2A and Club Cadets. The gym will be open. You can see that there's a health room, which is essentially the nurse's room in the office for students that become sick during the day, but for non-COVID type symptoms. This is our special education area in portable 1A and 1B. And then we will have a staging room for any suspected cases of COVID or someone exhibiting those symptoms in portable 3B, which is near Wildman Woods. So let's take a look at it from the sky down. When students come to school, walkers will come down the sidewalk and they will report to their respected areas. depending on what grade level they are in, to be screened and allowed into the building. Parents will not be allowed into the building. Car riders will pull up along this main sidewalk. Staff will be there to screen their temperature. They should have downloaded the mobile app with AISD to show that they've cleared that health check even before coming to the facility. And then we'll check again their temperature at the car before allowing them to exit the car and going to their respected area for further screening for their grade level. Buses will exit a little bit further down the street, and they also will be temperature checked as they exit the bus and then directed to the appropriate grade level learning locale for screening. So here, this outlines that process. Bus riders' temperature will be checked, car riders' temperature will be checked, and walkers will report directly to the checkpoint where they will be checked as well. We're going to use a color coding system. We have gotten Tyvek wristbands similar to these wristbands are made of recycled products. They are similar to what you would get at Six Flags, but that way that a student who has cleared the health screening station will be receive a colored wristband so that they know what learning locale they're in, and we all know where they're supposed to be. And so pre-K kinder would be green, red. We have these bands once they've cleared that arrival, then we know what area of the building they should be in. When they come to the screening station, let me just jump down to this picture. Looks something like this, right? This is the kindergarten area. There are these social distancing dots separated at least 6 feet apart leading up to this screening station. Here it is, the main entrance. When they come, they'll have their temperature checked again. They've got to be 99.5 or less. They'll be asked a few questions about their health. They'll be offered the opportunity, and we'll have them use hand sanitizer to clean their hands before they come into the building, given a mask if they don't have one, and they'll receive one of these Tyvek wristbands for the day. Now, any student who becomes sick during the day will be taken to this COVID staging room if they exhibit symptoms of COVID, which again on this map is up here in the top where it says staging room, and then the parents will be contacted so they can come pick them up. Let's see. Went through that. We took a look at these. This is basically what those entrances would look like. This main entrance will remain open throughout the entire day. So if your student comes late, this is where they would come. Staff is checked here before students show up in the morning to be checked here. And then any visitors to the campus, like AISD personnel, will be screened here as well. Step 3, they've received the color bands that we discussed. They'll follow these social distancing dots that are colored to their correct area learning locale, all the way to their classroom where they'll be greeted by their teacher. The school opens at 7:10, and we're going to try to move quickly, but this could be kind of a bottleneck as we go through, especially in the beginning as we get our sea legs to screen students as they come in, but we're looking at maybe 15 seconds per screening. Whoops. If they're late, so post first bell, if they're late, then come to the main office, and we'll have staff throughout the entire area. There's 5 or 6 areas that will be screening locations. This is an example of what the health staging room looks like. This is that portable that's by Wildman Woods. The blue dots represent a monitor, staff that will be there outside the building. And then there'll be a sanitation disinfecting area outside of the portable as well as inside the portable. And they'll be distanced until their parent can come and get them. This is an example of our special education rooms. Our scores and SBS rooms have been moved to portable 1A and portable 1B, which is the portable that's next to the gym. Again, there's sanitation areas inside and outside this room. This That's what a typical classroom layout would look like. Desks are basically separated 6 feet apart from each other. But you know, they'll still be able to visit. Important area will be food service. Breakfast and lunch will be provided in the classroom. There'll be a table outside of the room for the cafeteria workers to bring the food to us. And then that will be brought into the classroom for another table of distribution. The teacher will put on gloves and they will distribute all the food to the students. The students won't get up and be grabbing it out of the, you know, they come in those bags that keep it fresh. So the teacher will do all the distribution. And here's some pictures of what these spaces will look like. Here's an example of a disinfecting station. Maybe a disinfecting station is a bottle of hand sanitizer. In this case, it's some wipes. This is a food service station, simply a table, easily cleaned, will be cleaned before and after service. Then the food will be brought into the room. Here are a few examples of classrooms. You see that there's some lines on the floor, you know, we put with tape to separate the desks just to give an indication of the kind of social distancing that's appropriate, but we're able to visit, see each other. Here's another classroom, younger kids. And so on.
Can you, Mr. Halls, can you still share so I can go back through the slides in Spanish?
Certainly can.
Thank you.
And parents, just to reiterate too, every child will also have a desk shield at each of the tables. And with those we recently received and have already been placed in the classrooms as well.
Yes, Mr. Elmer, these are actual classrooms at Travis Heights. Just saw that pop up. Vamos a repasar el plan de reapertura. El diseño de nuestra escuela deja varias áreas de entrada. Entonces, lo que vamos a hacer, bueno, lo que hicimos es que lo dividimos en diferentes áreas de entrada. Tenemos la entrada, can you go to the next slide, please? Tenemos la entrada, aquí en este mapa, es un mapa de toda la escuela, pero podemos ver las diferentes entradas de acceso. En verde tenemos la entrada de pre-kinder y kinder y 2 salones de primero. Son los salones de inglés como segundo idioma. Al lado en rojo es el acceso de la cafetería. En la cafetería van a entrar los grupos de lenguaje dual de primer grado y de tercer grado. En azul, ese es el acceso de las puertas de enfrente de la escuela. Ahí tendremos la entrada de segundo grado y será la entrada de acceso para todo el día. También estamos limitando el acceso al edificio. Así es que cuando decimos acceso durante todo el día, queremos decir personal del distrito que tengan que venir a hacer algo en la escuela. Al lado en anaranjado tenemos las puertas que están a un lado del salón de arte, donde entran cuarto y quinto. Después atrás, en los portátiles 2A y 2B, tenemos el acceso de pre-kinder 3. También lo que se puede ver en el mapa es el salón de Mr. Rich, de la enfermera, de los enfermeros. Ese sigue siendo dentro de la oficina. También podemos ver a mero arriba del mapa donde dice Staging Room en rojo. Este portátil es el que está más cerca a Waldman Woods. Aquí se encuentra el salón o el área donde vamos a estar con los alumnos que presenten síntomas de COVID. Next slide, Mr. Haas. Aquí es una diferente manera de ver el mismo mapa, pero en los puntos rojos podemos ver los diferentes puntos de acceso. Para nuestros alumnos que van a venir en camión o en camioneta, ellos seguirán igual, llegarán al frente de la escuela. Alguien estará ahí para checar la respuesta de la aplicación de ISD y también checarán la temperatura una vez más. Para nuestras familias que vienen caminando, ellos irán directamente a su estación para checar la temperatura ahí. Next slide, please. La manera que haremos esto un poco más fácil es cada alumno irá a su estación de entrada. Esos alumnos, cuando los hayan checado con la aplicación o los hayan checado con la temperatura, recibirán un wristband. Esto se pondrá en la muñeca y es una de las, como cuando vamos al carnaval o vamos a la feria, que nos dan un wristband. I'm not sure how to say that in Spanish. Hold on, give me a minute, guys. La pulsera. Recibirán una pulsera de color dependiendo al año que pertenecen. Estando ahí, dependiendo de si pasen o no pasen la estación de salud, se irán a su salón con el maestro o la maestra que estarán, o se irán, si presentan síntomas de COVID, se irán al salón donde estarán los niños que presentan síntomas de COVID. Afuera, next slide, afuera de cada estación va a haber puntos. Los puntos están bastante grandecitos y pertenecen al color de cada entrada. Por ejemplo, aquí es afuera donde estaban las gallinas, afuera donde van a entrar pre-kinder y kinder, pre-kinder 4 y kinder. Ellos son verdes. Entonces, afuera de esa área verán puntos verdes. En la siguiente foto, esto es al frente de la escuela y se encontrarán puntos blancos. Empezaremos a empezar con las estaciones de salud de 7:10 aproximadamente hasta las 7:45. Sabemos que en los primeros días puede que se tarde un poquito más, pero eso es lo que tenemos designado hasta ahorita. Si es que llegan después de la campana de las 7:45, entonces el punto de acceso será enfrente de la escuela, el que es el acceso todos los días. Next slide. Aquí podemos ver cómo está el salón de salud, donde tendremos a los alumnos que presenten síntomas de COVID. Aquí en los puntos azules, esos significan la persona que estará, el adulto que estará ahí para cuidar a los alumnos. No estaremos dentro del salón, estaremos fuera, monitoreando cercanamente. Next. Y hay puntos la cruz roja y amarilla son, también quieren decir estaciones de desinfectar. En la siguiente slide, también pueden ver cómo en un salón donde los estudiantes reciben instrucción individualizada, cómo es que estará los muebles, estará donde se pueden desinfectar, cómo están los muebles a distancia de cada uno. Y en unas cuantas slides más vamos a ver fotos de cómo es que se ve en realidad en Travis Heights. Next slide. Esta es una foto de cómo se ve un salón de Travis Heights. Creo que este es un salón de tercero. Tenemos áreas donde se pueden desinfectar. Tenemos lo morado, son los gabinetes del maestro. Los círculos con cuadrados en medio son los escritorios de los niños. En amarillo es donde está el Innovation Station, la televisión que usa la maestra para enseñar, donde estará. Next slide. Estas son las estaciones de comida. Entonces, afuera de cada salón hay una estación de comida donde nuestro personal de la cafetería dejará la comida de los niños para almuerzo y para la comida. Y luego dentro del salón está otra estación para la maestra, donde cuando recojan la comida de afuera estará puesta y para poder distribuir las diferentes comidas que se llevan a cabo a través del día. Next slide. Aquí podemos ver una estación para desinfectar. Next slide. Aquí vemos cómo es que está una mesa fuera del salón para poder dejar la comida de la cafetería y luego las maestras la recogen de ahí y la llevan para dentro de su salón. Next slide. Este es un salón de segundo. Pueden ver las diferentes marcas en el piso, están hechas con tape para designar el área donde el alumno o la alumna se tiene que quedar. Next. Este es un salón, creo que de prekinder 4, es un salón de prekinder 4. Next slide. Y este también es un salón de los chiquitos, de prekinder 4 creo que también es. Ok, ese es nuestro plan de reapertura. And then I think we're ready for our next thing.
Great. Thank you, Ms. De La Torre. Thank you, Mr. Haas. Parents, are there any questions that you might have now before we transition into our Title I presentation? If you'd like to put in the chat, we can revisit and before we move to our next presentation. And if you're noticing, Ms. De La Torre does have highlights. She has highlights and she does have a new hairdo, but
All colors.
we're coming back for the fall, ready to rock and roll. All right. Again, parents, I appreciate you coming in and joining us this morning. Lots of information. Again, this information will be shared with you and bit-sized pieces so you know exactly where you need to go. Your teacher, your classroom teacher will communicate with you. We will dojo, we have gotten it approved, our opening plan, so we will dojo this out. We will put it on our website. We will definitely put it on our teachers will communicate and provide that to you. Good morning, Ms. Gerlach. So no, my understanding is that we had a new HVAC system installed, I believe, 4 years prior to me coming to Travis Heights. So my understanding is that schools that had not recently had renovation done to their HVAC system were the ones that were provided up-to-date ventilation concerning their HVACs. So for us, because of the updates that we got 4 years ago, I have not seen or I am not aware of there being any updates to our HVAC system. Absolutely. Windows, instruction taking place outside, trying to keep the social distancing precautions in place. It would definitely is definitely what is on the minds of our teachers in creating classroom outdoor settings and trying to keep that social distancing in place when you're transitioning from inside to outside. So right now at this point, Ms. Strange, I don't have the answers to that. Currently, parents, it's a bit of a challenge because we're calling parents, and even after the call, even after the survey, parents don't know, they don't have a response for me. They are not able to answer if they're coming back or not, which then creates a domino effect of how I am planning and meeting the needs of our campus. So what I'm going to do is start to assume that these parents are going to send their children back so that I can have some realistic numbers that I can work with. So at this point in time, What I will tell you is that there will be an adult in the classroom to monitor anyone who chooses to come face to face. I've said it before that it could potentially be a counselor, it could be myself, it could be the PSS, it could be Ms. De La Torre, it could be the classroom teacher, or a teacher from Travis Heights. I am experiencing at some grade levels of teachers not returning. So again, I have to absorb those children into classrooms. So that's why we're in the predicament of not being able to give you an exact whereabout of who that teacher is. Teachers are still having conversations of, do we make this teacher a remote teacher and this teacher remains a face-to-face teacher, where one teacher may have 30 plus kids and another teacher has 8 kids. We're having those conversations currently, because at Travis Heights, we have an extraordinary staff. And those teachers are really trying to problem solve how they can keep their clusters and cohorts of kids together. And so that has created another layer of being creative and innovative on how we can try to troubleshoot this. So I know it's not the answer that parents want. However, I'm not getting responses from parents. And so I'm going to start making decisions going into next week, preferably before Meet the Teacher, and have an answer for you. I will definitely have something before October 5th. But in the meantime, I'm trying to reach parents and teachers, communicating and trying to get us some answers so I can start organizing. As a superintendent, she said 1/3 of teacher requests is to help concerns. Can you tell us that may be impacting our campus? Are there things we can use to support advocate for the staff? Sorry. You know, it's a bit of a catch-22. I want everyone to be safe and to feel comfortable and to feel confident that we can create a space where teachers' needs are being met. You know, fortunately, the staff that is able to come in, they're coming in and they are fully aware. I'm not going to say they're not scared, but they are aware, and we're going to get through it together. For our campus in particularly, you know, we have a nice balance of teachers. However, we do have teachers with situations that did qualify them for accommodations. And so, you know, it makes my job a little challenging, but I love our Travis Heights teachers. And I will do whatever I have to do to support our teachers. And the faculty and staff at Travis Heights feels that way about one another. And if there is a reason why a teacher cannot come in and they meet the criteria for accommodations, then so be it. We will band together as the strong family that we are, and we'll get through this. But our goal is to get through this so that we can have these amazing teachers for our future and for years to come. And so, although it may be a bit of a puzzle piece per se, of how we're going to cover kids, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it effortlessly. We're going to do it with grace, and we're going to do this collectively as a group, because I can also say that our Travis Heights community has done an amazing job in being able to support your teacher, and continuing to do that by working collectively with them and being able to do your part. And for the families, like I said, that can continue remote, again, this is a moment in time, as inconvenient as it is. It's a moment in time because we're in a pandemic, but we will overcome this, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and we just got to make it through this. And supporting one of each other, we'll do that. Sure, go ahead. Our group is small. If you feel like you can unmute yourself, go for it. Yes.
Turn my camera on too. I had a long conversation yesterday with our fourth graders teacher, Miss Sanchez Navarro, and she said, you know, we'd love to have you back if you're comfortable, but she did give us a realistic picture of what it might look like. And I don't know that all parents fully understand that it's really going to be your kids sitting at a table, you know, probably most of the day, and maybe a walk around the track, socially distance at part of the time, but it's really going to be, they're going to be doing their blend and their Zooms just from the classroom instead of at their home. Is that kind of what you're expecting as well?
Well, this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting for families that need to come face to face, opportunity to have an adult there to support you with the level of instruction that you're needing for your family. We're going to give you a safe, social distancing parameters included. We are going to provide lunch and breakfast. We're going to have hopefully opportunities, special areas where it's an ABC schedule, and we're going to go back into our special areas where students are going to special areas. And students that remain remote, they will have access to special areas as well. I'm hoping that there are mask breaks, okay? I'm hoping that we continue with opportunities for outside learning. I'm pushing for teachers to have lunch outside. I'm pushing for teachers to have instruction outside. However, you do realize that Travis Heights is we have an eclectic campus, and so to find spaces where children and teachers can instruct is going to have to be a bit creative. But you know, yes, they're going to have access to blend. They're going to have access to technology. And is it business as usual? No, we're in the middle of a pandemic. But you know, if you were at home, you know, I'm trying to simulate what school might look like during a world pandemic. And I'm trying to simulate your kids' basic needs being met. And although I am a strong proponent of SEL, and those forms and foundations and bonds and building those relationships are essential to all of us as that being a whole child in one of our 4 pillars. I also know that there is going to have to be a give and take. And so making sure that we have the manpower to support all of our Thunderbirds, staff and faculty and children, we'll just have to approach it and see it. But I have shown you in my presentation what classrooms will look like. Yeah. And so, you know, it's to wrap your brain around that. I think that parents that need face-to-face are going to have to come face-to-face, and they need it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that they are aware, and they're fine with that because they need the face-to-face.
Good to know that specials will be sort of normal and they'll still go to a special area. Ms. Sanchez Navarro wasn't sure how that would play out, so that's good to know.
And it may change. I will tell you,
well,
right
of course,
now.
Yeah, all
right
of this.
Now, special areas, we were going to have them go to classrooms, and then they said, I feel safer being in my classroom and having multiple kids come in versus me going into a classroom because I can't control the area.
Yeah.
I'm kind of 50-50. I would rather the teacher go in because then the teacher's controlling, but as opposed to having several cycles of kids coming in, special area, I am still a little perplexed. Again, I'm trying to think of 8 kids as opposed to 20 kids and disinfecting. So I'm not gonna clearly say that it's not plausible, but I have to go with what my faculty and staff feel more comfortable with. And if my special area teachers tell me I feel more comfortable with kids coming into my room because I can control my area, then so be it. But it may change, because if we get an influx of kids coming in and I have to take away those classrooms to serve children, then it may change. So again, this year is going to be a year of grace. It's going to be a year of flexibility. Denora and I ought to be in Cirque du Soleil because we are so flexible by this point in time that I'm going to have to start getting more highlights. So. All right, any other questions for me before we move to our Title I? And I agree, I appreciate all of your support, and there will be a time and place where I will be asking possibly for other items or other materials that we may need. Our amazing PTA is doing a fabulous job in supporting and meeting my needs currently. But there may be other things that I may ask families to start to help us to provide if you are able to.
This is Navarro.
Yes.
I'm Mireya Zapata here, and I know I'm echoing what the parents on the call and not on the call. You know, I have deep gratitude and appreciation for what you and the team are doing, so thank you. One quick question. So for children that stay remotely, I just want to make sure I understood this. I understand that the who may continue to evolve, but as far as, you know, we've established I would say a routine that now that they're 3, I can feel, I never thought possible, even with the kindergartner, I feel like we've got a routine miraculously. It's different, not what I planned for, but we're making it work. Do you expect changes in the structure of what the remote learning looks like?
I am
the who.
Ms. Abata, I'm trying my due diligence, and that's why it's so tricky with teachers. We're trying, because imagine the task that I have given my teachers, which they have all fully accepted, is they will be teaching a remote group of students while maintaining a group of 8 students that could potentially be their children or various levels of ESL or DL. So at this point in time, we are trying to make schedules work while still trying to give them a 45-minute planning time and a 30-minute duty-free lunch. So as you can imagine, I know my teachers are like, Michelle, if you mess with the remote schedule, these parents are going to be driven off the edge. And so I'm trying really hard not to, because I agree. We're trying to leave that alone. And at this point in time, Ms. De La Torre and I are crossing our fingers and our toes and our eyes to not have to touch that and really look at how do we do face-to-face and follow it within the parameters of TEA's regulations. So
I don't think I've got my kids and we're going, I don't think I'm so glad you said, because I didn't realize that. So for example, Penelope, 4th grade, Miss Alvarez-Sims, she's going to continue with the group online, and then she's trying to figure out how she's going to adapt to providing support to the in-person group as well. Okay, I missed that. So that.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen with special areas too. So special areas is not just going to have 8 kids; they're going to have their 8 plus the kids, and so the task that I'm giving my teachers is that you're going to have to be teaching simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Never in a million years did my teachers think they were going to become professional jugglers.
Sure.
But that's the task that we've been given, and grateful and blessed that I'm at Travis Heights. Our team has accepted that challenge, and we're going to do the best that we can. And we're going to get through this together. Okay? And I'm depending on you as parents to have my back, and to have our teachers' backs, and to give us patience. And when you're getting frustrated, take a second before you shoot off that email to the teacher. Think a little bit about what the reality is that we're all facing, and just give it a second. There's nothing we can't work through. There's nothing we can't accomplish together. We are stronger together than apart and divided. Okay.
My last comment, trying to digest the combo, I guess I will say that, and I'm sure Ms. De La Piedad, they've been thinking about this, is that it might be, as we are entering the blended environment, I can see a place where we might want to create some space for the kids also to process that, because I can see, you know, my children, both of them, having a lot of emotions about the well-being of their teacher and their peers in the classroom. And, you know,
Absolutely. The feelings are strong. And I know exactly what you're saying, because I'm trying to wrap my brain around the emotions that my child's having, and it's because her mama is on the front line. And she doesn't understand, why can't you just back out? You know, well, I am the leader of Travis Heights. I will not do that to our community or our people. And together we will stand solid and we will get through this.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, if we're having at home conversations about why it's important for us to stay virtual, you know, that's a challenging thing for them to think about, people they care and love not being in that same space. So I'll keep giving it some thought, but I think that's something that, besides the learning and the schedule, just to pile on. And I'm, you know, ready to help and support.
Take care of your teachers, love your teachers, send them Amazon cards, send them lunch, send them dinner, send them adult beverages, but on the side, you know, gift cards.
Can we have stuff like that mailed to the school, or just email type stuff?
I would email. I would do email. Just,
okay.
And I know, but this is really tough. And Christy, thank you for acknowledging that our teachers are working around the clock. We're working harder than I think we've ever worked. I'm ready to go back to school as normal so that I can just have my life back. But it is what it is. And I know what I've signed up for. And as long as I have an amazing team and community to lead, we are here.
Thank you.
And we put on a brave face. Okay. Nice picture. Okay, let's go ahead. Moving along. Let's do our Title I. Families, if you got to jump off, I understand, but please stay. I have some great developing news with our Title I budget. And so that's kind of what I want to share. If there are any other questions, please feel free. And I will say, spread the word. Spread the word, Thunderbird, to your families, and have some real conversations with your friends. Because this is the reality we are dealing with currently. All right, Mr. Haas, if you can jump into that amazing, if you can jump all the way, I believe, to slide with the important dates right there, and then we'll jump to Title I. So some important key dates: January 5th, February 12th, March 12th are our DOY days. Also included, meaning those are days that students will not be on campus. Not necessarily faculty, just students. And our new PD dates will be October 12th, February 15th, and April 2nd. More words of how parent conferences are going to appear. I think that with our office hours, it's going to be a little different this year, but we will definitely stay in communication. And if you feel that teachers are not communicating effectively or efficiently, please allow administration to know so that we can help support that and close that communication gap, because more than ever, we need to be communicating. All right. If we can jump, Kent, to possibly slide number 5, we're going to talk about Title I and what Title I is. So Title I is what I like to think about as supplemental money that's provided to us for students that are economically disadvantaged. It's a category of students where our campus qualifies. This is part of the reason why I'm sharing this with you, is because as an annual meeting, I have to inform we are a Title I school with 65% of our students receiving free and reduced or considered economically disadvantaged. And so this is the reason why I need for there to be participation. There are requirements that I have to share, and rights of parents. So we're going to talk a little bit about Title I. We're going to talk about where that money is being spent and how is that impacting and supporting your students as learners, and then also the school parent compact and how do you get involved. So Title I is a federal program. It is under the Every Student Succeeds Act. It provides supplemental funding through TEA to ensure that there is a level playing field for fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain high quality education to prepare our students for college success. When we talk about Title I, it's supplemental funds. It's not a guarantee, and every year it depends. 65 is the threshold right now that AISD has for us, and we are qualifying by the skin of our teeth. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not, but it is definitely something that we have to look at. It impacts instruction and student achievement, professional development, and parent-family engagement is how that supplemental funds are spent, because there are parameters around it. So for our 2019-2020, we have the budget of $86,075. Now with that, with staffing, that plays for 2 of our personnel. Last year we had a full-time PSS. This year we've had to go down to a half-time PSS because the city was not going to fund that other 50%. We also have our amazing Director of Technology and Media who helps and supports the needs of Travis Heights. And so part of that allocation is so that we can have him, because that is not a district position that I'm provided. Supplies round out about 9,000, software about 85, copier rental up to 9,000, tutoring about 5, subs and testing, that's for about 3,200. Now those subs are not for actually testing kids, but to cover teachers so that they are able to help provide the testing, the accommodations for our 504 and our specialized instructional groups. And then parent engagement, that's the allocation that my PSS gets. She gets about approximately $861, about 10% of what our actual budget is, to put towards food, arts and craft activities, book studies, among some ideas of which she might use her allocation for. So with that, our budget this year is $79,355. So you can see that is a bit of a reduction. And this is why PTA is so critical to sustaining all of the amazing programs that we have at Travis Heights to serve all of our children. Again, currently we are serving about 65% of our campus is Title I, 506 are students that are enrolled currently up to date. So that is a huge number, because at 450, that determines if I get to have a full-time AP, or if in fact I have to figure out how I'm going to open my pot of magical beans and coins and have a full-time AP. So with that spending this year, as you can see, there's a reduction. We have staffing, which rounds about 51,000, supplies, that's about 20,000, tutoring, 5,000, subs and testing, about 1,500, and parent and family engagement, around 861. And you might be saying, Ms. Navarro, why do you have 20,000 worth of supplies? Well, let me explain a little bit of the math. Because I had rollover from the area superintendent last year of around $6,325, and because TEA approved $15,764 of my dollars of Title I funds that weren't spent last year, they allowed me to roll that over. So the copier fee, some materials that we had to spend got taken out of that pot of money because we had to spend that first. And then the remaining allocation of the money that I have for the $79,000, that's why our supplies look so, have a $20,000 budget. I do not spend supplies. I do not spend $20,000 worth of supplies, but it's a way of holding money so that I can allocate it into different pots. Now, what I will tell you is that I understand we're in a pandemic, and I understand that children have lost, and there's some fallback of where our kids were. But you know what? The thing about educators is that we meet the kid where they're at, and we push them, we move them, we have high expectations, and through rigorous programs and interventions, we get our kids to where they need to be. And that's just the name of the game. I have this year, we've allocated about $15,000 to really great reading, and also to help supplement with the Take Flight program, because there are fees that accrue with that to be able to provide Take Flight for our students. So with that $15,000, I was talking to Ms. Del Toro, and I told her I will never have that money again. I'm really trying to save the money that I have with PTA, because I don't know what it's going to look like down the road, guys. And I'm worried. The years that we have been able to fundraise look like it's getting kind of slim. And I know that next year, my goal is to try to protect all of the money that is in PTA and use it wisely, because we will lose a year of being able to have the big fundraising that we typically do. So we're trying to really tighten up our purse strings, but yet invest and continue investing. And primary literacy is a huge point. Literacy, read by 3, That's the district's initiative, but that is our promise. As educators, we need to have our kids reading on grade level by grade 3. By purchasing $15,000 worth of really great reading material, what that has enabled us to do is to be able to provide that support for teachers from pre-K all the way to 3rd grade, and then also provide more dyslexia support for our grade levels in 4th and 5th grade. So the commitment of investing and continuing that investing is at the top of our playlist. It makes no sense, guys, early on as a teacher to think that if I'm going to interrupt children's patterns of not being able to learn how to read, I need to do that at an early age. Our intervention is the key to success, and the really great reading works amazingly with our large population of English language learners, also with our dual language learners, but also for our children who are learning a second language or learning Spanish and trying to understand the dynamics of how reading is comprised in the English language. All right, next slide. When we look at our comprehensive need assessment and our CIP, our campus improvement plan, this year we will continue our TIP plan. That was something that we had last year, which is targeted instructional plan. We're going to carry that over, and what we look at our comprehensive needs assessment is that reading. We need to focus on reading. We need to focus on lesson planning. We need to focus on quality instruction to close that gap between our student populations so that every Thunderbird is learning efficiently and equitably at Travis Heights, and not just a small group. And what I mean by that is that if your kid is GT, they should be getting challenging work to push them to the next level. If your child is receiving any kind of specialized instruction, we get them to where they need to be, close that gap, and keep them moving. It shouldn't matter what area code, what zip code you live at, who your parents are, or how much they make. When you come to Travis Heights and hit the steps of our school, you are going to receive a quality, top-notch education, because that is what we are committed to. Our Title I Compact, you will be getting some information on this, and I believe we did submit this through our e-folder. I do need you to sign it, take a picture, send it to your teacher, and your teacher will keep a digital copy of it. This is your compact between a promise, per se, almost a pinky promise with a kiss to seal a deal, that this is your promise of what you're going to do as the parent, the student, and as educators from Travis Heights. And these documents are English and in Spanish. We are going to send them out to our parents, and during parent the back to school night, we'll have those conversations too, just so that they are available to you. And if you have any questions for us, that we can help and support you. All right, that's for my presentation. If there's any questions, please feel free to. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yes, yes.
Vamos a repasar la información sobre título 1 y vamos a repasar unos días, las fechas importantes. Entonces, el 5 de enero, el 12 de febrero y el 12 de marzo serán nuestros días de innovación, donde el personal está trabajando, pero los alumnos no están en la escuela. El 12 de octubre, el 15 de febrero y el 2 de abril serán días para desarrollo profesional de las maestras, al igual quiere decir que ellas están trabajando, pero los alumnos no. Vamos a hablar ahora sobre título 1, y lo que es título 1 es un proceso donde informamos a los padres de la participación. Explicamos los requisitos del programa título 1 y explicamos los derechos como padres para involucrarse en título 1. Cada año tenemos que tener una reunión para informarles de lo que acabo de explicar. Y título 1 lo que es una cantidad de dinero que recibe la escuela por los alumnos que están calificados como alumnos de recursos bajos. Ahorita tenemos aproximadamente un 65% de alumnos que están clasificados como de bajos recursos y reciben comida a precio bajo o gratis. Okay. El año pasado, para el 2019-2020, recibimos aproximadamente $86,000, a lo cual se gastó en personal, se gastó en suministros, se gastó en software para los alumnos, también se gastó en las copiadoras y para actualizar la tecnología. Aproximadamente $5,000 de ese dinero se gastó en la tutoría de los niños. También se gastó una cantidad de dinero para contratar sustitutos que vinieran a cubrir los salones de las maestras para que ellas puedan asistir con pruebas de exámenes. Y una parte de ese dinero también se usa para la participación de los padres y familia con nuestra especialista de padres. Este año recibimos un poco menos, lo cual fue aproximadamente $79,000. Igual se gasta en las áreas de personal, en suministros, en tutoría, en sustitutos, en la participación de los padres y la familia. Lo bueno es de que este año, aunque se nos proporcionó menos dinero, recibimos aproximadamente $6,000 que se transfirió a nuestra cuenta. Y también el Estado aprobó la transferencia de aproximadamente $5,000 del año pasado de título 1 que no se usó. Entonces, este año aproximadamente, otra vez, $15,000 se ha gastado para comprar material de intervención para poder asistir a los alumnos con su lectura. También este año tendremos que continuar con nuestro plan de mejora de la escuela que empezamos el año pasado. Debido a COVID, el plan no se pudo completar, así es que este año continuamos con él. Y los componentes de ese plan incluyen evaluar, ver datos, crear metas y objetivos de rendimiento y estrategias para atender las necesidades académicas de los estudiantes, para enfocarnos en qué desarrollo profesional se necesita para las maestras, y también coordinar los recursos que tenemos aquí. Y no, creo que eso es todo. Esas son las diferentes áreas de nuestro plan de mejoramiento que tendremos que continuar este año, debido a que el año pasado no pudimos terminarlo por la situación de COVID. Okay, that's it, Ms. Navarro.
Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I also want to tell you, appreciation pump to all of our families that came out and supported the unveiling of Mr. T, our new Thunderbird mascot, and hitting the streets and being there to cheer us on as we drove by. Let me tell you how much that was so needed for all of us. And hopefully it will be a continued tradition that we bring to Travis Heights, and either we go to you or you come to us. But it was so amazing to go through the streets of Travis Heights and see families, but also to go to the apartment complex and to see our families just running out to greet us. Thanks you again, to a huge shout out to PTA for helping to bring the ice creams or ice cream popsicles to our families so they could enjoy that. And again, thank you so very, very much. Our Mr. T is going to be making a debut in our virtual assembly that we're going to be rolling out of here and taping next. But again, parents, that is what fills our buckets, and you being out there with your kids and cheering us on and maybe possibly getting wet a little bit by the water squirters was fun. So every year we're going to make it bigger and better. Bubbles are going to be coming out of everywhere next year. So just wait and watch. All right. Y'all take care. Until we see you again, we love you. Be safe. Take care of your families. Hug your Thunderbirds. And we will see you hopefully soon. Bye.